Hey guys, welcome to part 7 for What If Naruto Had Ultra Instinct. And if you guys remember last part 6, we kind of left out on a cliffhanger. And here we're finally going to finish up part 1 and get into Shippuden for What If Naruto Had Ultra Instinct. So let's just get right into it. Naruto's eyes are filled with shock as he looks directly into Sasuke's empty, blank, expressionless face. Sasuke gave no inclination or of any movement that he'd be stabbing his Chidori into Naruto's chest. As Naruto's eyes look further down, he sees that Sasuke's hand is inside of his chest cavity as he sees blood for the first time ever come from him, really. So this is what true pain feels like, he would think, as he can feel himself burning. It's almost tingly, he would think, as he finally falls to the ground after Sasuke pulls his arm out. Naruto would immediately begin healing as soon as Kurama's chakra as well as the angel's chakra begin to work on him. Sasuke would say, "Oh no, you don't," as he begins rushing towards Naruto at a fast speed. Naruto, who's now not off guard anymore, blocks the attack from Sasuke as Naruto is sent flying backwards by a little bit. Naruto, who's now gathered his bearings, decides he has to go all out against Sasuke, and Sasuke isn't holding anything back against him. This is when Sasuke comes from directly behind Naruto, his curse mark for stage 1 already activated. As he chops down, Naruto would easily block this attack as he then counters with his own, punching Sasuke in the gut, sending him flying across the valley. As Sasuke hits into the stone edge, his neck is slightly twisted at a weird angle, as he then falls to the ground, pulling himself up while his entire body's shaking, with that single blow being almost enough to take him down. Naruto would tell Sasuke there's no point in them doing this, while Sasuke stares at him with complete rage and malice. He continues to tell Naruto that he will die, as Naruto walks forward telling Sasuke he's not going to go easy on him. Suddenly, Naruto and Sasuke both power up, as Sasuke goes into his full power form, which creates those wings on his back by going to stage 3 curse mark. Naruto would then rush forward in Ultra Instinct, Master Edition, as he continues rushing down the side of the cliff, as each step puts him closer and closer to impact of Sasuke. Sasuke would activate his Chidori, the Onyx Chidori, with black lightning, as he then rushes towards Naruto. Naruto would then have a flashback of him and Sasuke fighting back at the academy, with him dodging all of Sasuke's blows. Now Naruto and Sasuke are continually battling each other, as Naruto bullies Sasuke. Sasuke throwing an attack with Naruto easily dodging and countering. Sasuke throws a punch. As he does so, Naruto would grab the punch with his front hand, turn to the right as he then pulls his other hand into a palm strike, stabbing into Sasuke's arm with a blow so powerful that it shatters Sasuke's arm. Sasuke would be in complete pain as he feels his entire right hand and all the way up to his shoulder, all of the bones begin to turn into dust. Sasuke can't feel his entire arm as Naruto isn't holding anything back. Naruto would suddenly create the Rasengan as he then slams into Sasuke, Sasuke's body twisting as he feels his internal organs begin to bleed. Sasuke gets sent backwards as the curse mark begins to heal all of his injuries. Sasuke would know this is an uphill battle, as Naruto is far more powerful than him, being able to take on one of the 7 deadly swords of the mist alone, as well as being more than Jonin level. Naruto would continue walking calmly towards Sasuke. This is when Naruto begins to feel his body begin to heat up. I've been using it too much, he would think, as Naruto realizes that during his fights with the Sound 4 and getting all the way to Sasuke, he'd been using Master Ultra Instinct way too much. As Naruto feels his stamina actually going down, he would then tell Sasuke he has to finish this quickly, as Sasuke would tell him he has the same plan in mind. Sasuke would create a fireball jutsu sending it towards Naruto. Naruto would hold one hand out as he then slashes in the air, creating a wave of air pressure that slices the fireball in half, not even using a jutsu. Naruto would tell Sasuke this is pointless and that he's taking him back to the village. He won't let Sasuke get into the clutches of the same man who had failed to take down, the one who had taken down the 3rd Hokage. He refuses to let his friend go down that way. As Naruto walks forward, step by step, Sasuke begins to shake with fear, as he has no chance against Naruto. Naruto wouldn't even throw an attack, as he suddenly comes in face-to-face contact with Sasuke. Sasuke's perspective is looking at Naruto like a mountain, something he can never hope to climb. Sasuke would begin to cry tears as he falls to his knees on top of the water. Naruto simply standing there as he looks down, with pity almost, as he looks down at his own friend who had fallen so far into the darkness. As Sasuke is on his knees in the water, he can feel himself beginning to sink as his chakra controls begin to lose its power, and his stamina is completely running out. His curse-marked state would begin to disappear as Sasuke has no energy left in him. Naruto would be running out of stamina too, as the attack that Sasuke had initially landed on him, being one of the only fatal attacks that Naruto had ever experienced, was almost fully healed now by Kurama's chakra, which was luckily enough to fix him just like it was in the original. Naruto would hold a hand out and extend it to Sasuke as he deactivates Master Ultra Instinct. This is a mistake, as Sasuke knew that he couldn't beat Naruto in this form. Sasuke would look up as he tries to jab at Naruto with Chidori. Naruto, who could feel this malice as well as the airwaves touching all around him, would be disappointed as he moves out of the way, chopping Sasuke in the back of the neck as he falls into the river, completely unconscious. Naruto would pick up Sasuke as he begins walking back towards the village. However, this is when a new battle would come. Suddenly we would see him, Orochimaru himself, having arrived. Quickly having known that Naruto would be too powerful for Sasuke to evade, he had switched his body as fast as he could as soon as he had left the Leaf Village the first time, as after the important battle of Tsunade to try and heal his arms, he had given up on that plan, and had decided that even if only temporary, he needed a body that could withstand using his arms in order to battle this kid. As Orochimaru then walks down, jumping into the valley below, the rest of some of the Sound Village would actually be on the roof area above. Naruto would sigh as he places Sasuke down, and then would create a Shadow Clone. The Shadow Clone would protect Sasuke while Naruto then himself activates Ultra Instinct. You'll never be able to defeat me, Orochimaru. As Orochimaru and Naruto begin walking towards each other, the true battle of the final valley of the end begins. Suddenly an explosion would be heard as Naruto kicks off at max speed, his rage beginning to show through as he has an almost creepy look of disdain on his face, him looking almost like a villain. As he rushes towards Orochimaru, he doesn't deny that he feels some sort of hatred towards Orochimaru for his own failure of himself protecting the third Hokage and watching him die right before his eyes. You killed the third Hokage directly in front of me. That was your biggest mistake, Orochimaru. As Naruto lands a flying kick directly into Orochimaru's arm, Orochimaru will be sent flying as he lands onto the side, using his snake escape jutsu, where he transforms into a snake and then dips out of the attack that he was going to be in. He then neglects all the damage into the snake he had summoned, which would then cause it to be instantly KO'd. Naruto would rush towards Orochimaru with a barrage of attacks. Now, suddenly, waves of Sound Ninja would come flooding into the valley, as Naruto himself doesn't know if he can handle all of these enemies at once. No, I can do it. He would push all of his mind at the brink of itself as he empties everything, becoming truly one by using all of the Angel's chakra into full mastered Ultra Instinct. As suddenly he is taking on hundreds of opponents at the same time, he begins spinning, whirling kicks, and flying with Rasengans, as well as Shadow Clones going everywhere. As Naruto is taking on thousands now of Sound Ninja who are all flooding the valley attacking Naruto, Naruto will continue battling them as he punches, kicks, and does anything he can to evade their attacks, jumping into the air and teleporting out of the way of several hundred kunai sent towards him. Orochimaru, he'd think, as he suddenly turns back to see Orochimaru trying to get Sasuke from Naruto's Shadow Clone. I don't think so. Suddenly, Rasengan would be implanted into Orochimaru's back as he's sent sprawling onto the ground, sent into the river as a huge explosion can be made. Orochimaru would summon his giant snake as it swims up the river, trying to dive itself at Naruto and devour him whole. Not this time. He created a massive Rasengan with a ton of chakra and slams into the snake, sending it flying into Orochimaru's forces, as all the Sound Ninja, including Orochimaru himself, are sent flying to the opposite side of the valley and crashing into the stone walls. Suddenly, almost like thunder, an earthquake would grab the earth as it begins to rattle over Naruto and Orochimaru's power. Even back at the Leaf Village, they can hear this mighty battle, as Naruto continues rushing towards Orochimaru and the Sound Ninja. I'm glad I brought many forces with me. This kid has gotten even more reckless, as well as powerful than last time, he'd think, as Orochimaru remembers his battle against Naruto back in the Forest of Death. However, I will claim Sasuke's body. I need the power of the Sharingan, and some kid with white hair isn't going to stop me. As he says this, he'd rushed against Naruto by using his own snake jutsu to slither towards Naruto at fast speeds. He then wraps his way around Naruto, as Naruto would then easily teleport, almost moving away from him, as Naruto turns around, kicking the snake into the ground. He'd pick up Orochimaru's body as he begins to twist in his hands, Orochimaru trying to transvert back to his original form. As Orochimaru uses the substitution jutsu, Naruto would easily backhand him from behind, as Naruto slowly turns around, his eyes steely and filled with an embrace that feels like a crushing mountain. As he turns around, walking towards Orochimaru, Sound Ninja would rush at him from all sides. He easily takes them out without even seeming to move, as after images of Naruto move from side to side, taking all of them out. Orochimaru would then rush towards Naruto in a desperate attack, as Kabuto and Orochimaru are now fighting him together. Naruto using one hand is blocking Kabuto's attacks, as well as Orochimaru's on each side, using kicks to attack back, as Kabuto and Orochimaru are losing stamina. He's so hot, Kabuto would be thinking, as he's beginning to sweat as he rubs his forehead. Naruto's body's heating up more than ever, as he's overused Ultra Instinct. He feels himself burning up, as the Angel's power, if you haven't watched, Dragon Ball Super, the power of Ultra Instinct causes the body to use a ton of stamina, as well as heat it up to massive amounts of degrees. Suddenly the ground, the water itself began to burn, as the entire valley would begin to turn to steam. Naruto's heat at this point would almost remind us of what if Naruto had sunshine had, as Naruto's body is heating up even hotter. Naruto created Rasengan, and this time it begins to become pure white. Mastered Instinct Rasengan. Suddenly, several hundred Rasengan would surround Orochimaru and Kabuto. As Naruto holds both hands together, he then silently pushes them together. As he does this, all of the Rasengans would converge on Kabuto and Orochimaru, creating a giant explosion of white light. All of the Sound Ninja were taken out as their bodies begin to float on stream, with Orochimaru and Kabuto's doing the same, with Orochimaru barely clinging to consciousness. Naruto would fall to his knees as he's completely passed out, and his eyes are hollow. He falls to the ground out of all of his chakra and energy, seemingly completely gone, as his mind is in a different place. This is when Kakashi and the rest of the team who had come to find Sasuke in the original would find them at the Valley of the End, with Sasuke about beginning to regain consciousness and Naruto out for what have seemed to have been hours now. Naruto and Sasuke be recovered as they take them back to the Leaf Village, while the Sound Village had actually been completely almost wiped out by Naruto single-handedly, as Orochimaru hadn't expected him to be able to be so powerful. Naruto wouldn't wake up for 3 months. As 3 months passed with Naruto, still nothing. Jiraiya would come to visit him every day now, and Sasuke would have been awoken 2 weeks after they'd originally been recovered, and going to visit Naruto as well, with his curse mark now having been resealed while he's been detained for now. Sasuke would have seen Naruto's power, and he decides that after seeing that he had taken out, from what he heard from Kakashi, almost all of the Sound Village and Orochimaru, then maybe Naruto has more power than he could have ever gained from Orochimaru. As Sasuke would then take a seat, looking at Naruto, he'd be thinking about all of the things he wanted to say to him. Naruto's eyes would still stay closed, though, as his hair had still stayed the same color of white. Inside of Naruto's mind, we see 2 sides, one completely white and one of dark. On each side, one a dark figure of a fox, towering giant over Naruto's consciousness, and the other slim, elegant, and deadly, like a poisoned rose with red flowers of which carried blood. Naruto would see the angel, her pure white eyes and hair completely different from her demonic-like personality and tendencies. As Naruto would see the both of them, he would sit in the middle, not knowing what he should do. Am I a fox of the darkness? Do I give in to my desires and feel only emotion? Or am I an angel, pure and undestruct, with nothing that can harm me at all? Naruto would sit in the middle, deciding this for 3 months, shaking back and forth as he is getting pulled from both the dark and the light sides. Naruto would feel a hand on his shoulder, as now we see someone, this person being Minato. Minato would hold his hand from Naruto on behind, with Naruto not turning around, but only hearing a calm and soft voice. It's nice to meet you, Naruto. I never expected that I'd actually be able to enter this type of seal. I don't know if this will use up the power that I had stored in here for a later date, but that time will come when we get to it. Naruto wants to turn around as he asks who he is. Minato would introduce himself and say, "Well, it seems only natural to me that a father should know his own son." He would say this as Naruto turns around, his eyes locking to his own father's. Suddenly, the two sides of dark and light would then begin to morph as it just becomes an empty gray room. "You're the fourth Hokage," he would say, as Minato would help Naruto up and they begin to have a talk. "Naruto, when we and your mother sacrificed herself now, years ago, 12 or 13 years now, isn't it? I'll be turning 13 soon, actually," Naruto would say calmly. 13 years, huh? Minato would think. "Well, when we created the seal 13 years ago, we had originally thought that you would be the one to master the Nine Tails power. We never expected that you'd have such a curse carried along with it, and we had never used the Reaper Death Seal in order to actually seal a tailed beast before, so we didn't know anything like this would ever happen. For that, I'm sorry." Naruto began to cry as he begins punching at his dad over and over again, telling him why would he even do that to his own son. As he begins to cry, we see Naruto on the ground, his hands, as his tears begin to drip from his face. He tells Minato everything. The villagers, how they treated him, the emptiness inside that he felt, his emotionless husk of a body that he had lived in for 4 years before he had found a way out of this cursed existence of Ultra Instinct. "I had no idea what to do," he would say. "I never knew what I should do." Naruto's voice would become now more crackly as he doesn't know what to say. He stutters more as he's lost his confidence, as Minato just gives Naruto a hug, silently, as the two now feel each other's warm embrace. Naruto would say goodbye to his dad, as Minato tells him he knows he'll see him again. Suddenly, the light in the room began to fade out, as Naruto's mind would begin to wake up. Sasuke is still sitting there when suddenly Naruto would speak with a hoarse voice as he says, "Sasuke, is that you?" His head wouldn't move as Sasuke would look down, seeing Naruto with his eyes barely open, too weak to even move. "It's me. You're awake. You shouldn't move," Sasuke would say, as Naruto is completely bedridden from not having done anything for 3 months. This is when Sasuke would go to get Lady Tsunade as well as Jiraiya, who would come into the room and ask Naruto what happened. Naruto couldn't say very much, though, and said that he's extremely tired after what had taken place during the final valley at the end of the final valley battle against Orochimaru. He told Tsunade and Jiraiya everything that happened, including how far he had delved into Ultra Instinct this time. His body had heated up so much that he had evaporated the entire river. He then tried to tell them more, but he begins to cough as he tells them he needs to sleep, before passing out almost instantly. Jiraiya and Tsunade would be impressed with how much Naruto had accomplished, taking down one of the legendary Sannin and many of his forces in one shot. Sasuke would also be amazed at Naruto's tail after he had been knocked out by Naruto, and he wished he could have actually seen it. This is when, now, we would see a few more weeks would have passed. Naruto is now fully recovered and has had rehab, and his body's back up to tip-top shape. This is when Jiraiya would tell Naruto that he wants to take him on a little journey, and he tells Tsunade this as well, to teach Naruto more about his own power so he doesn't have to rely on Ultra Instinct as much. Naruto would be ready for this and excited to go, and this is when the idea he has pops into his head. He would ask Jiraiya-sensei if he could take Sasuke with them, as he doesn't feel comfortable leaving Sasuke here after what had happened before, and he thinks it'd be fun if the two of them could go together after what had happened at the final valley. Jiraiya would agree to this, and Sasuke and Naruto would leave Sakura behind, as she would train with Tsunade while Sasuke and Naruto would follow Jiraiya, leaving the village for the next 3 years. 3 years have passed, as now Naruto and Sasuke are grown up pretty much, with Jiraiya and them in a field far away from the Leaf Village. We see Sasuke and Naruto on opposite ends, both of them creeping through the tall brush, while Jiraiya sits there calmly, in a perfect stance, waiting, listening to nature and trying to feel the energy. Suddenly, Sasuke and Naruto try to jump Jiraiya, as Jiraiya takes on the two at the same time, with neither of them using either Sharingan or Ultra Instinct. As the two continue to battle against Jiraiya, Jiraiya would block and counter the two of them, as he's now taking them more seriously than he had when they were kids. Sasuke and Naruto have grown even closer now, as they become more than just friends and would consider each other like brothers. Over the past 3 years, both of them have gained new outfits, with Sasuke looking more in his gray robe outfit that he has in Boruto. Forgive me for my sin of saying that. But Naruto now has the same jacket that he would have in the original Shippuden, as he, Sasuke, and Jiraiya have now finished their training for the next 3 years. "I guess it's about time we head back, huh?" Sasuke would say. Jiraiya and Naruto would nod as they begin their trek back to the Leaf Village. If you guys want to see the next part for What If Naruto Had Ultra Instinct, make sure to hit the like button, comment down below what you thought, and subscribe to the channel for more. I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.